Hello everyone, this is another playtest realm map review, playtest realm 1.2.1 patch, and they did introduce 5 maps. This is map 4 out of the 5 that they've introduced. Trying to figure out the name for this so I can refer to it. I'll just call this Junkyard Arena, as that's the first thing that really comes to mind. It feels like it takes place in the middle of a junkyard, but there's also this low ground area here with one Zelnaga watchtower. There are 4 spawning locations here on this map: 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock or 3.5 o'clock, or 4 o'clock. Once again, a 6 o'clock, and then finally over here at the 9 o'clock location. So it is, just another square inside this bigger square here, and the walking distances between this map are pretty long. Not as long as, say, Blistering Sands, but it is a pretty long distance walk between any of the bases. And because there are 4 spawning locations, it's going to be much more difficult to figure out what exactly your opponent's going for, as you need to scout them out. Now, one of the things that you'll quickly notice on this map is that there's not that many expansions. To be real about this, there's only one set of gold mineral patches here and another set of gold mineral patches here. Both of them are blocked by destructible rocks, and you're gonna have a very difficult time trying to defend this, as this is on the lowest level of ground here on the map, even lower than this center it is on the lowest level of this map. There are also a lot of vents on this map, so vents are something you're gonna have to be very, very careful on. There's vents right here. There are vents, I believe, here and here. I'm pretty sure there are vents in those locations. Let's see. I know for a fact, yeah, these are vents as well. So yeah, there are a lot of vents on this map. So even though this map has a lot of walking distances, it makes this map feel the vents make the map feel very, very small, or very, very large, excuse me, as you can't see that much of the map at any given time. So Zerg players may have a little bit of a difficult time trying to take a third base on this map, especially if your opponent does spawn like not across from you, but say from the 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock or the 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. It's going to be very difficult to take up a third base. This expansion over here on the low ground is very much exposed, very, very far away from your natural base here. And we all know that Protoss players and Terran players generally work better off of 2 bases than 3 bases. Zerg players want to have at least 1 base up, so when the Terran player naturally takes his expansion here, or the Protoss player, the Zerg player naturally thinks to himself, okay, what is the third base that I can take? Another thing to note, excuse me, as I'm just trying to remember all this stuff and talk about the map, there is 2 sets of destructible rocks here that are also blocked and covered by vents. So in order to even gain sight on those rocks, you need to come in and get very, very close. So as you try to push through, in order to even see the rocks, you need to have a unit here, so siege tanks on the other side can start blasting away. Same things with extended range Colossus as well. So these rocks should be taken down early if you want to use them. These rocks, or these debris, allow for an easier third base if your opponent does, say, spawn across from you from the 3 o'clock to the 6 o'clock position, or the 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock position. And this does make for an easier third base, but it's also very difficult to try to defend that many bases. You do have a very narrow choke point here to try to send your units through in order to offer some defense as well. So we'll see how these maps play. I think this map in general is whoever can macro better and more appropriately take up his third base. If you wait too long and your opponent is able to establish a third base, you're going to have a much more difficult time trying to establish it, as he's going to have a mineral advantage, an army advantage, and can probably put pressure on your third base before you can really put pressure on his third base, since it is already established. But if you try to establish that third base too early, you're going to really be stretching your army very thin, and that just makes it very difficult. There is one Zelnaga watchtower in the center of the map. That Zelnaga watchtower does give sight to essentially the whole entire low ground arena here. It's pretty wide open. A lot of Zerglings can swarm around, and one of the benefits I think that Zerg will have on this map, though, is the fact that they can use creep tumors in order to gain a lot of sight. And with maps that have such large expanses like this, creep tumors are essentially free ways in order to gain sight and freeways for those Zerg units. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this map review on what I'll call Junkyard Arena. Is there even a Junkyard Arena map already? If there is, I'm sorry. Junkyard Arena 2. Here, yeah, on what test map 4.